Okay, so ang trend yun na to pyramid is that pag ang line, nakaside naman nga, if the line is, we will try to put a line here with our scatter plot. If the line is going down from top left to towards the right, is going down. So expected na to itong R negative. Okay? But in this case, ang second example nga na kani, masayop ang ano na dapat positive gyapon siya, dili siya negative na correlation kay kung tanawon nimo, we could try to put a line that tries to minimize the distance with all the dots that are present here. The line is increasing from left to right. So therefore, dili siya negative na correlation. It's positive one. Okay, in our person correlation computation for our person correlation, here are the assumptions that we have. The samples are random. Both variables are approximately normally distributed. So it means to say, ay bias ay mga ano. And then measurement of both variables are interval or ratio scale. So pag naka-ordinal siya, dili ta pwede makagamit og personal. Okay. Then the relationship between the two variables, if it is linear. Okay? So, mo nang gitawag na to ng linear relationship. So, we just simply try to establish the relationship if there is. Normally, if it is already converted into a number, so there is what we call always as a relation. But the only thing that we'll have to remember is that if we will try to correlate two things, okay, dapat ang correlation or ang relationship is kalabang posible. Dili kay maghimo na lang tao any number na relationship day would be impossible. Halimbawa na lang, if we will try to correlate the number of Carabaos in a certain barangay and the average IQ of all the students in that barangay. Halimbawa, makuha na to ang relation, there is always, because there is a number, there is always what we call as an output of a number, and if there is a number, then there is a corresponding value for that relationship. But we already know the relationship are very impossible nga naman. Would we try to have a correlation or relationship between IQ of a person and the number of Carabaos in that where the person lives? I do not think so that it will happen. So where is now the formula to calculate the person correlation coefficient? Okay. The symbol is read this one. The first one, that's the summation of the product of the two variables, x and y. Okay, product get the product muna of each pair. Then after getting all the product of the pair, then get the sum. Muna pag-buot mo sa buta na. Pag mayon tag summation of x times the summation of y, it means to say add all x's, add all y, ay siya mag-multiply. Then divided by kung pila sila ka-pair. Okay? Then this one is square kada number nga nasa x or for that x variable. Kaya ni mo call ng sum. Okay, that symbol. Okay? So, that's the formula. And you would be able to note that one mamaya because we'll have our example. And here is now the calculation for the P value if we will try to establish if the relationship that we found out with the value of our R, if it is significant. So when we say significant ang relationship, so it means to say that the relationship are significant. Kung baga, pwede siya gamito nato nga basihanan for prediction. That is why we could proceed to regression. If the relationship that we found out is significant, then we could proceed to regression. That we could now use the two variables in order to predict the outcome of the other one. Okay, so muna ibot pasabot sa ito ang relationship. Kung significant siya, pwede ta mag-proceed sa regression. Kaya ang regression is establish if the relationship is significant enough, then we could use the two values in order to predict the outcome of the other one. So, pwede na siyang causation. Okay? But that is already what we call as regression. Pero ang correlation is dili siya dapat tanawon na causation. Okay? Ang causation lagi nato is ang regression lagi nga analysis. Okay? So, here's the example that one. The height and the arm span of 10 adult males were measured in centimeters. Is there a correlation between these two measurements? Always there is. Ayan. So, the height in centimeters and the arm span. Okay? So, more likely, we could put that the height would be our dependent variable, independent ata for x, and our arm span will be for y. Ayan, so that's the graph. So we will be able to trace that one. We could be able to put a line here. So maklaro na nato nga it is already a positive correlation. Kaya ato ang line nga mabuhat, kung subayo na to ato ang Madungog niyo ang sound glass.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Pero di kayo tulog. Di ka makama nag-disturbo. May meeting ka pag saan may inyo nga yurot naman lang nila talan ko ano.
Okay raman, sir. Dili
Disturbo, okay ra?
dili man, sir.
Dili man hinon, sir.
Dili kayo. Okay, so here is the example that music sa wa pa man magsugod ko na meeting. So here is now the example. Take note of that one, and then we could now have that one here. Ayan. Dependent variable ang ato ang arm span. So XY. So ayan. Kaning nasa ubos, kaning 1842 is we call this one as the summation of the X. The other one is the summation of this one. These are the product, 171 times 173. Product na siya of XY. And then kung kuhaon mo ang sum niya dayon, muna yung gitawag na ito karon of summation of X and Y. Or in other words, summation of the product of X and Y. 171 squared is 29241. And then, if you have to get the total of this one, the total is called as the sum of X squared. Okay, and then the other one is 173 squared is 29929. And then if we have to get the sum of that one, we call this one as the summation of Y squared. Okay, and then we could use that value in order to compute now for our using the formula kanina. If you could still remember this one, summation of the product of XY minus the product, the ratio of the product, and the number of sample size. Okay, so if you could go back here, so summation of XY, that's 34468. If we have to go back with our we have to go back with our given with our values here. Ayan, summation of XY, that's 344,648. Okay, ano siya? Replacement na siya. Summation of X kanina 1842. Unya kani is summation, if you could still remember the formula, ayan. Summation of X, quantity squared. So ang sum sa X is squared. Okay, that's the difference between summation of X squared against sum of X. Kaya ang sum of X squared, ang ganina, di-square muna, ayan, nag-sum. Okay? Then, by computation, then we'll be able to use that R is 5. Questions? Questions muna. Okay na mo?
None, sir.
Ay, sir.
Yes.
Ito yung mga tana, sir.
Pwede kayo.
Kanang bitaw sa kanang square root sa denominator bitaw, sir, kanang the summation of X squared. Ngano da gilahi ang pagkuan, sir, is ang isa, sir, is the 1,842 squared, tapos ang isa ka summation of X squared is ang gibutang is 340196.
Value man na sa X and Y. Gain na.
Mama na dito sa ato ang one, dx ba yan mo ang sum ana awang square Gi-square muna kada x, ay gisam. Mao man ni siya. Ibalik na to sa given na yan. Na 340196. Gi-square muna kada x, ay gisam. Muna ko yun, that's the difference between the two. Kaya ang symbol, kung tanawin ba yan mo ang Kaya kung tanawin ba yan mo ang symbol sa itong formula ka na, ayan, difference na sila duha. Ang bot pasabot ani, i-square ni mo daan ay isam. Kani, gisam ni mo daan tanan ang x, ayan ni mo gi-square. Mo na nga 1842 na siya.
Okay na, sir. Na ma-recall sa open pa rin.
Ah,
Sige. Okay na, sir. Yes na, sir.
okay.
Thank you, sir.
Unya, gi-square sa daan ng 1842, ay gi-divide og 10. Amo nang napulo man, dali na sa inon ikuhan kay. Pag square ni mo ng 1,842, ang resulta is 3,392,964 divide 10 mo ng 0.4 na lang ang mabilin or nahin mo na siya 339,296.4. So as with 1867 squared divide 10 mo na siyang nigawas. Okay? You would follow that one with your calculator if you want to. And then, ayan, if we want to calculate for our test of significance of our R, then we could compute that one using the formula for our T. If you could still remember the formula for our T, here is the T that we have. Okay, that's R times the square root of n minus 2 minus over 1 minus R squared. Then we could compare that value with the tabular value. Then we could make our conclusions. Okay? Pero dili man importante sa ato karon nga mag-test of significance. Ang atuwa na lang is for our R. Okay, kaya ang test of significance mo sa atuwa is dapat mo proceed daw regression. Kung makita na ito nga significant. Pero kay correlation naman ito isgutan karon, we will not deal with regression. So we'll just only have our, we will not compute for our T anymore. But I think you could follow the formula for our T if you want to compute for the T. Okay? The formula for our T will be this one. R, where R is the correlation coefficient, person correlation coefficient siya. And then the number n is the number of sample. So sa atong sample is napulo ka buok. So that would be n minus 2. So that would be 10 minus 2. 10 minus 2, that would be 8. And this would be 1 minus r squared. And I think our r squared is 0.9 something. Diba? 0.9315. Okay. So utilizing the formula, you would be able to compute for the r. For the T, I should say. Really, they are. Okay, so if halimbawa, the data that we have is not normally distributed, so the data is, we could still analyze the data for correlation, but what we'll be using is non-parametric correlation. Okay? And ang common nga non-parametric correlation is Spearman test or Spearman rank for determining the value of R. Ayan. So Spearman test, this is the most commonly used test, usually because it is not non-normal and it is non-linear or uses ordinal data. So rank, kung magamit tayo rank, Spearman ang pinaka-maayo nga gamiton. So the only assumption of the Spearman test is that it is at least ordinal. Okay? Pinakagamay niya is ordinal. Dili pwede og nominal kay dili wala may kuha na to ng nominal. Okay, like most non-parametric tests, the data are ranked first from smallest to largest. So in this case, each column is ranked independently of the other. Then we subtract the rank. Okay, makita na ninyo sa example.
The University officials led by Dr. Berkeley Suga, President, Dr. Jenny D. Hassan, Vice President for Academics, Dr. Ronald Allen F. Maduna, Vice President for Research, Planning and Quality Assurance, Dr. Mergina A. Vergara, Vice President for Universal Relations and Advancement, the Deans of the different colleges, Dr. Ruth A. Aliva, Dean of the College of Teacher Development, Dr. Anthony
Excuse me.
Dean of the College of Medical Studies and Teacher Education Research, and Dr. Celia Antiano, Dean of the College of Flexible Learning and ECMU, the provost of the different TNUs, and directors of the various units, to our highly esteemed internal and external stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the Philippine Normal University Multi-Stakeholder Forum on its Strategic Development Plan for 2022-2032. To start, let us sing the Philippine National Anthem to be followed by an interfaith prayer. Panalangin ng pagkakaisa ng pamayanan ng pamantasang normal ng Pilipinas. Diyos Ama, Panginoon, Ala, Bathala, at iba pang tawag sa pinaniniwalaang makapangyarihan sa lahat. Pagpupuri at pasasalamat ang aming ipinaabot mula sa aming puso. Patuloy po kaming humaharap sa hamon ng pandemya. Hindi ito madali. Nagdudulot ito ng paghinto sa aming mga nakasanayan upang magpatuloy ng buhay. Tinatanggap po namin ang hamon ito upang lalong maging sapat, matibay, at nakakasya sa pagharap sa pagsubok na ito. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
sound din, sound man. So, formula for computing the R of Spearman rank na correlation is 1 is constant minus the quantity of the ratio of 6 times the summation of D squared. D squared means the difference between the ranks, okay, in the two variables. We rank independently each of the each number that is present in variable x and y. Okay? So, makita mo na mamaya sa example pa rin natin. And then the number of samples n times the quantity n squared minus 1. Okay? If we want also to test for the significant relationship, then we could still test that one and we could still find the p-value of our and the formula for computation for t-test for the significance of the relationship of the rank is the same with the person R. Kumora siya. So here is now the data that we could utilize. It's from the mass of the 13 adult male tuataras, and the size of their territories in square meters was measured, and territory size and the size of the adult male total related. Okay, so here is the data. So what should we do is, if you have to graph, we'll be able to see that still there is a greater probability that our is linear and it is positive. Okay, pero kung tanaw na to, di kayo siya linear, muna siya curve. Mo na nga itong gigamit is Spearman rank rather than the person R. So ayan. So, if you have noticed nga ang mass o territory niya, territory size in terms of ano sa yung gamit, square meters. Ayan. So may gibuhat is we rank that one individually from lowest to highest. So ang pinaka-low is 235, that is why it is rank 1. Followed by 435, 8, 2, 3, and so on. So as with our territory. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Okay? And after that one, we get the difference of the rank. Okay? 6 minus 6, 0. 10 minus 12, 2. Or negative 2. Or 2 is simply because positive or negative siya, square mo kung diyapo na to, ang result is always be positive. So that is why we only have to get the difference. So kaya difference siya sa G's o sa 12, duha. Okay? Then after that one is square. So muna lang tawag na to karon is summation of D squared. Isam pa na to siya, isam. So 4 plus 16, 20, plus 9, 29, plus 16, 45, plus 9 of 1, 10, so 55, plus 5, plus 1 of 4, 5, 60. That is why the summation of D squared is equal to 60. Constant ang 6. Okay? So 1 minus 6 times 60 is 360 divided by 13 times 168. 13, there are 13 samples and then n squared, 13 squared is 169 minus 1, 168. Okay? So that's how it is being, ano. So R is 0.835. That's the result for our person rank. And then if we have to compute for our T, we could compute for the T. Okay, and then we could compare the value with our standard table. Pero kay dili naman tamang inanglalana. So do not worry about that one. Here in our linear regression, we are starting to testing a causal relationship between two variables. So, ang regression sa giyon na ako is mao siya ang causation. Pero ang correlation dili. So, in our linear regression, we are already hypothesizing a functional relationship between the two variables that allows us to predict the value of the dependent variable y corresponding to a given value of the independent variable x. So, sa gingon na nako, at naghimo na tag nag-hypothesize na ta just simply because we have already established nga kung strong ang relationship, then pwede ta maka-hypothesize nga we could use the data in order to predict the value of the dependent variable using the independent variable. Or we could predict the value of y using the independent variable x. So muna itawag og linear regression. Unlike correlation, regression does imply causality. So muna lang gingon na to. An independent and dependent variable can be identified. So in this situation, this is the most seen in experiments where you experimentally assign the independent variable and a mixture of the response and the independent variable.
Sir, pwede
Yes.
ko mangutana, sir.
Yes.
Katong bitang ganina sa M-rank o T-rank, sir, katong sa slide nga. Kanang tabak niya, sir, diya, sir. Kung asa nagi ka nang gikuhang M-rank, sir, o T-rank. Thank you, sir.
Ang M-rank na to is for rank sa mas rank na siya, in other words. Girank na to nga to ang number. Di ba mo muna giingon ganina sa atong gibasa sa pag-calculate para sa atong T, mo to atong Spearman rank. Itong giingon. Ayan ha. Like most non-parametric tests, the data pairs are ranked from the smallest to largest. So ang data atong i-rank gikan sa pinakagamay hangtod sa pinakadako. Nya pagkuhanin mo dayon is i-subtract. So mo to atong gibuhat. So ang atong rank kung sa may pinakagamay nga number 235, so rank 1 followed by 435, I think. Di ba? Mo siya sunod nga pinakagamay. Yeah, pados pinakadako. So mo po nagibuhat na to diri sa atong T-rank. I think 1.5 is the smallest one. Tama. Followed by 1.7. Then after that one, we subtract, we determine the difference of each corresponding rank. So, para sa pairing 510 nga mass, 6.9, pareha man sila rank. So, ang difference is 0. The difference of the rank is 0. Then, the difference between 10 and 12 nga rank is 2. Then, after that one is square. Then, pag mag-square, gisum. Mao na nakuha na ito nga sum is 60. Ayan. So, take note nga ang formula is, ang 1 is constant as ang 6. And there are 13 samples that we have. That is why we utilize 13 for n. On this one, there is the 13. And then 13 squared is 169 minus 1, mo ng 168. Okay? So, natupag ang pangutan na kanina kung asa gikuha ang rank.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, so sa na to, thus the independent variable is not normally distributed. Indeed, it has no variance associated with it. So it is usually selected by investigators. So pwede siyang mga kwanta o regression. And so that's the discussion that we have. If you could still remember your linear equation, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. But naikabaguan na lang kung gamito na to sa atong kuan. Kay ang b karon sa atong regression mo na siyang slope. Unya ang b gipulihan siya og a. So ang mahitabo sa atong linear regression nga formula will be asa naman to? Wala man. Sige na, makita na nato lang niya. Ayan. We can use the equation to make predictions, although, of course, these are usually estimated by sample statistics rather than population parameters. So, we will be able to find a regression equation that will describe the data that we have. And then, using that equation, we could use that equation in order to predict what would be the outcome if the certain value is given for our x. But there is a certain limitation with our given is that because it is a sample, so more likely we could only use values within the given value of our variable. So halimbawa, we could only use the prediction within the range of our variable. In other words, kung ang highest value dito is 7, ang highest value is 40, ang lowest value is 7. So if there are values that we would like to predict within, wala na ito makita dito sa data. So therefore, we could use that one within the code. So dili ta pwede na maka-predict of beyond 40 and below 7. Okay? Pero pwede ko na ito gamitin ng equation, pero ang nakakuha mo ko na is it becomes very illogical because it is not within our range. Kumbaga, kaya dili man siya makita sa atong data. Okay, assumptions for our linear regressions. The independent variable x is fixed and measured without error. So it means it has no variance. For any value of the independent variable x and the dependent variable y is normally distributed, and the population mean for these values are within our category of our mean for y. So the mean for our y is simply be equal to alpha plus beta x, where alpha now is the y-intercept and beta is the slope. And the mean of y, mu of y, is our predicted value. Kumbaga. For any value of x, any particular value of y is this one, yi. In other words, we could utilize the formula, but because it would now be a prediction, that is why we use that one as y sub I na siya instead of mu of y. Okay, where A is the residual, and that residual is very minimal, that it is very near to 0, that we could neglect that one later on. Okay? kay gi-adjust na sa atong formula daan nga ang atong is dapat pinakagamay kay siya almost equal to 0. Nga dili siya actually maka-change sa value sa imong prediction o sa atong prediction nga imuon. The variances of the y variable for all values of x are equal. Okay, that's assumption na sa atong linear regression. Atong linear regression analysis. Observations are independent. Each individual is measured only once. Okay? Ayan. Kung makita po tayo, so dali na ito, inuwali siya og graph, di ba? Anak na siya. So more likely, ang atong line, musubay sa dana. Okay? So ang take note na nato is that ang regression line nato always passes through a point mean of x and mean of y. It means to say, ang distance, each point that we could find in our graph, kung mubutang tagline, dapat ang pinaka-minimum na distance nga itong makita between x and y. Okay? Kaya bang ang point is dili ang posible na ito nga makuha is ang minimum that we could get the minimum distance of each point that we would like to draw from our line. Nga kana nga line is ma-determine nato pinagi sa ato ang katong y equals mx plus b, or in other words, yi is simply equal to alpha plus beta x. Ayan, so here's the example for our, so if we have to graph that one, so we'll be able to note nga positive relationship, and then more likely it would be high. So ato lang i-assume nga significant ang relationship kay taas man pod. Okay, kay gabi ka positive, di ba? Kung tanaw nimo. And then here is now the description that I have said ganina nga dapat ang atong line nga himuon gana para sa na is minimum ang distance. Ganina in our example, asa naman itong temperature kani man itong gatang ganita kana muna siya 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 12 heart rate, temperature na siya by 2 ang niya ayan. So what should we do? We get muna the product, okay, xy. So we get the product, and then pag isam na to ang product, ang tawag na niya ay summation of xy. Ayan, summation of xy. Then we get the sum for our x, for sum of x. Okay? Ayan, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. There are 9 ata ka data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ayan, 9. So, upat ka pares nga tag napulo, ang tag 20, 80, ang tunga-tunga, G's, mo nang nabinta. Sunod, add 5 for 179 ang total. So, ang mean sa atong x is 10. Kay 90 divided by 10 is 90 divided by 10, 9 I should say, is 10. And then 179 divided by 9, so it is around 19.89. Take the square, we square the x, then we are now ready to compute for our r. Uy, nahurot naman. Anara. Take note of the given. Ayan. So, summation of x, product of xy to 116. Ayan. Product of y to 2216. So, that is why we use 2216 here. Then, summation of x is 90. Summation of y is 179. There are 9 samples. Manang i-divide of 9. Okay ko. Ah. Okay. So how do we get 1790? So 90 divided by 9 is 10. 10 times 179 is 1790. Okay, and then 1140 is summation of x squared. Gatong square na to ganina nga x. So, ayan, 1140. Square mo na ang 2, 4, 6. Ayan. So, ang square po, corresponding is 2. I should say 4, 16, and 36. Then after that one, the sum. Then the sum would be 1140. Then we know that 90 times 90 is 8,100 divided by 9, that's 900. So, utilizing the idea of the difference, then we'll be able to get the difference for 26 over 240. Divide, then we have already the value for our B. And then to get the value for our A, we use the formula A is simply equal to the mean of Y minus the slope times the mean of X. So, ayan. So, ang ganina, ang mean sa itong A is 19.89 minus ang mean sa ito ang mean sa ito ang Y is 19 ba? Yeah, ang mean sa itong Y is 19.89. Ang mean sa itong X is 10. Times B. The formula is B times the mean of Y. So, ayan. Then, we have now already our A. Utilizing now the two values that we get, we know that this is the y-intercept and this is the slope. So, it becomes now, for any value that we would like to predict, for any prediction that we could use is we could, that we'll have to, we use the formula 2.14 plus 1.75 as the slope and 2.14 as the y-intercept times x. So for any value that we would like to know, we could use this formula. So halimbawa, wala man tayo 3 nga temperature. So we could use the formula in order to predict what would be the value of 3 as what would be the heart rate of a person if the temperature is around 3 degrees Celsius. Ayan. So we simply replace the variable x by the necessary amount na itong gusto masayiran. Questions? Questions? Okay na? And I think that would be all for our correlation. So we could go now to our next topic, which would be
Sir, excuse me,
Yes.
sir. Sir, pwede may mga yuan ng copy sa PPT,
pwede.
bali sa... Okay, thank you,
Ako
sir.
i-post sa GC niya. Has raised his hand. Yeah, Daniel.
Sige, sir.
Daniel.
Nara na, sir.
Ganyan. Karon ni oy bago ni. Karon pa ni gawas.
Ganina ko lang nag-i-con, sir, katong nagmutan ako sa A-mark og out, A-rank og T-rank, sir.
Maklaro na ang i-share?
Yes, sir. Makara.
Hindi mo dagan. Kana, nag-change?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
the next topic that we'll be having is all about geometric design, but we'll be focusing on the basic geometric design. At dorang mga transformation niya, translation of stretching sa ano niya. Ayan. So geometric design is a trend that focuses on the simplistic beauty of mixing certain shapes, lines, and curves together for creative results. You may have seen it incorporated into fresh tattoo designs, abstract backgrounds, and even in jewelry design. Geometric design is a popular trend that showcases basic shapes in creative designs. Rooted in actual mathematical principles, geometric design can be created by with formula precision on or through experimentation. But we will not be computing utilizing any formula. Ato tanan is basic concept of the design. So the first geometric design that we will be talking about is the transformation. A transformation is a process that manipulates a polygon or other two-dimensional objects on a plane or coordinate system. Mathematical transformations describe how two-dimensional figures move around a plane or coordinate system.
You can join po, ma'am. You can join po any of the breakout rooms that you are interested in.
Okay, sige.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Sir Nel, Sir Sherwin, Carnete. Same, sir. You can join any of the rooms po, any of the breakout rooms po of your choice. Thank you, sir.
VP, what's this? Sorry, I just got access to our Zoom meeting. Anong instruction?
There will be breakout.
Sorry, good morning.
It's okay, sir. There will be breakout rooms po, and there will be moderators and facilitators naman po to explain everything po.
Okay.
And there are specific strategic areas po that you can choose from.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Hi, President. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning po. Ma'am Nene, Dr. Guevara.
Alan,
Yes,
how can
ma'am.
you join a breakout room? Good morning.
On the lower right portion of your screen, ma'am, there should be an icon there that says breakout rooms.
Okay. And then you just
Click on that, and then you can choose any of the rooms.
okay. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Alan.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am Doris. Thank you, Doris, for accepting our invitation. Yeah. You can also choose any of the
Oh, I
rooms.
thought I was in the law. Partnerships. I saw my
Yeah, but you can go there if you want to. Yes. Yeah. It's in, I'm not sure what room it's
Alright.
My big partnership is three strategic areas, three collaborations.
So how do I get there? Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Jason.
Okay. Like sa email ba? Or you said think that here.
No, it's already here in the Zoom. You will be there na po.
Jason, how about Representative Franz Castro?
Sir, I requested her to choose any of the rooms. I think she's already in one of the rooms. I can I don't see her here anymore.
Okay.
We have from Bulsu, from Bulacan State University.
Ma'am Angel Salvation po from Boots.
Yeah. Can you just assign Ma'am Angel to one of the two?
Academics po.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and also, Sir Mr. Ibrahim.
He's joining Sir later. No? May meeting daw siya at the moment. He's the president of that CMQA association. How come I can still see here some of the documenters? Ed, why are you still here?
It's okay.
Transformation is a process that may replace a polygon or other two-dimensional objects on a plane or coordinate system. Mathematical transformation describe how two-dimensional figures move around a plane or coordinate system. So, there is what we call as a pre-image or an inverse image in the two-dimensional shape before any transformation. So the image is the figure after transformation. Take note, the pre-image is before transformation na siya. So after mag-transform, ang tawag na is the image. Mura magkita pre-image, so yung tanaw na to sa mirror, pero naman po yung reflection ko dun niya. Ang makita na to sa is the image, and then kita ang pre-image. Kung nata sa mirror, magatubang. Okay? So, to transform something is to change the main transformations include translation, rotation, reflection, and then dilation. It's either enlargement or siya yung isa, pag-shrunk. Ang pagamay. So, we'll be talking about there's four transformation: translation, rotation, and then reflection and dilation. So, renaming the original shape is the labeled with capital letters. Okay. And then, after that one, kung image na siya, masayra mo siya is because it's already an A prime or B prime. Okay, so more likely, that's the difference of the naming. It means to say, polygon ABCD is the pre-image, and polygon A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime is the image. Okay, so that's how we name that one. Oh, yeah, a translation is simply be slides an object at a fixed distance in a given direction. So the original object and its image have the same shape, same size. Sa translation na, take note. In a translation, the original object and its image have the same shape, size, orientation. And then the translation vector between them is given by the coordinate. It would be 4, -3. It means to say we move to the right, okay, from the original object, okay, because it is a 4, that's 4x, okay. We move the object 4 units to the right, and then 3 units down. So if we have to take note of that one, every corner of our object or our pre-image is moved 4 units to the right, and then after moving it to the right, we move it down 3 units. So if you have to count 1, 2, 3, 4 for Q, where is the Q? Ayan, yun for Q, and then 3 down, 1, 2, 3. So that is why Q prime is located now here. Okay, so the vector will tell us the movement that we'll have to do with our object so that a translation may happen. Okay, we call this one as the translation vector, 4, -3. So it means to say we move the object 4 units to the right and 3 units down. Diba? Kaya ang negative means direction na siya kung asa paingon. Diba? So that is how we make our translation. Ayan. So this one, in this example, the slide moves the figure 7 units to the left and 3 units down. So the original polygon is here, then the image is already here. Kung tanaw na ito ang A, unsa may coordinate sa itong A? 2, 4, correct? So kung 2, 4 siya, then we move, so we subtract 2 plus -7, that's -5, and then 4 minus 3, that's 1. So that is why A prime is already at -5, 1. Ayan, nakita ninyo? That's how we do with our translation. Okay? So that is why formula could be x minus 7 and then y minus 3. So unta may ato ang coordinate sa B. In order to determine B prime, so we have to determine the coordinate of B, and the coordinate of B is 4, 4. 4 minus 7, -3, and then 4 minus 3 is 1. So ayan. So that is why the location of B prime is -3, 1. Questions? Dali ra sabton kay kuan naman kayo pang elementary ra ba? Translation kayo. Ayan, next. Let's examine some translation related to coordinate geometry. Ayan, so simple translation na siya, one direction. 6 units to the right. So it means to say ang translation vector ana is 6, 0. Correct ba? Kaya walay movement nga nahitabo sa imong y. Okay. Same distance in the same direction. Anan. So, muna siya. Then we'll go to our rotation. So rotation is a transformation that turns a figure about a fixed point. And it is described in terms of the center of the rotation, the direction of the rotation, clockwise negative, okay, clockwise, and then counterclockwise is positive. Okay, that's also in relation of naming our angle, di ba? Reading the angle from the positive x-axis clockwise, counterclockwise, muna ang mga positive na angle. Pag if it is from the negative, from the positive x-axis, as it go down, or the flow would be with clockwise, then the angle form is negative. And still, in our rotation, the pre-image or the pre-image have the same size with our image, same shape, same orientation. Okay? So, walay mabago. Dili mo gamay, dili mo outro. Asa ang orientation mo nagyapon. So, here is the rule for determining our rotations. So, rotation 90 degree clockwise. So, what will happen is that sayop ang kuana before reflection ng kabutang, dapat rotation na siya. Before rotation, XY. Pag after rotation, 90 degrees, what will happen with your XY? It becomes Y negative X. So, halimbawa, 1, 2. So, it becomes now 2, negative 1. Okay, take note ha. And more likely, ang point nga itong pangwaon para dali na itong rotation is katong mga vertices or katong mga corner. Okay, katong mga vertices lagi. Itong mga vertex ba? Mga corner siya. Ay para dali is na to siya ma-identify. So take note of ito, 90 degree, that's the rule. And then paki-outro na lang sa kuwan. Makalimot magyabog kong outro diyan eh. This is point of pre-image before rotation, not reflection. Okay? Before rotation na siya. So rotation of 90 degrees counterclockwise. So what will happen is that it is, what happened to the coordinate is that it becomes, from XY, it becomes negative YX. Okay? Then rotation 180 degrees. The coordinate XY will become negative X, negative Y. Walay pag-change sa coordinates, pero ma-negative na yan. Rotation of 270 degrees clockwise, pareha siya sa imo ang rotation sa 90 degrees. Di ba? Kaya normal nga, co-terminal maning duha, di ba? 90 degrees negative, kaya counterclockwise man eh. Positive. And then kaning isa clockwise, pag-abad, counterclockwise, 90 degrees clockwise is in the between first and second quadrant, and then clockwise 270, that's negative 270. So, pareha na siya sa 90 degrees. So, muna nga pareha na po ang iyang coordinates. Pagkahuman, after rotation happens, ang imong coordinate ng XY, may imong negative Y, X. We change the value of the coordinates. We change the abscissa and the ordinate. And then, ang imong ordinate sa una, pagbutang nimo sa abscissa, o sa, abscissa, may mo siyang negative. Okay, take note of that one. And then, the rotation, 270 degrees counterclockwise, is the same with rotation clockwise, 90 degrees. Questions? People of the Philippines, any questions?
Wala na siguro, sir. Okay.
Wala na. Sige, padayon ta. Gabay naman lang ni. Pila gani kay slides. Gamay na lang yun. 29 kay slides. Kunya na nata sa ika-13 slides, okay? Reflection is a description by a line of reflection. An object of its reflections have the same shape, the same size, and then opposite ang orientation. Di ba mo na ang ato ang kuan inigdanaw na to sa amin, opposite ang orientation. Ang ato ang original sa atong sa amin wala. Okay? Mo na nga mo position ka sa imong tuo, ang murag ang naglihok dito sa reflection ni mga tuwa dito sa mirror is wala ang galihok. Murag walhon ka dito sa imong image. Kung maglihok imong to, ang murag ang naglihok dito sa imong sa imong image is ang imong wala. So, ayan. So the line where a mirror may be placed is called the line of reflection. The distance from a point of a line of reflection is the same as the distance of the point of the image to the line of reflection. So, equal ang distances ana, murag ang imong image. Kung unsa ka kalayo gikan sa samin, ang imong reflection mao po na kalayo gikan sa samin. So, equal ang distances. Pero ang atong gi-talk about aning mirror is plane nga mirror, ha? Plane. Kay sa inyong physics na ba, kay pag curve ang mirror, lahi ang dating. Okay? Kaya basig mo yung mga sel, kung mahita mo na siya kung dili curve ang mirror. Yeah, you are correct. So, we are talking about, in a reflection, we are talking about plane mirror. Okay? Kung magamit as the line of reflection serves as the mirror. So, yeah. So what happens to the point in reflection? The name of the points of the original triangle, ayan. So kung i-reflect na to siya sa x-axis, mo na ang may tabo. Correct? So ang imong A, kung unsa kalayo gikan sa x-axis, pupod na ang imong A prime or ang imong image. So 1, 2, 3. So we have 1, 2, 3. O, ayan. So kantigo man kayo mo ala, di ba? Kaya igoro man mo siya i-reflect. So here is the rule of our reflection. The point of the pre-image before reflection, so XY, reflection about the x-axis. So kung x-axis atong gamiton, ang atoang coordinate XY, original, or we call that one as the coordinate for our pre-image. When reflection occur, after reflection, the coordinate XY becomes X negative Y. Okay, kaya mulihok ana, kung imong basihon, x-axis man, so it means to say, kung ang imong XY na sa first quadrant, more likely, ang iyang reflection na nasa fourth quadrant. And in the fourth quadrant, the coordinates are positive, negative, correspondingly, abscissa and ordinate. So it would be negative, positive abscissa, negative ordinate. So reflection about the y-axis. Ayan, mo na siya. Ang ma-change na po from positive to negative is ang imong ordinate. Imong abscissa dahil, SJ. The value for your x in our coordinate. Reflection about the line y equals x. Nakatuod mo ani nga line y equals x. Asa man nimo traverse ato ang Cartesian plane. Ang line nga y equals x, asa man siya mo traverse? Uy, people of the Philippines. Asa na to makita ang line nga y equals x? Look. People, ingong balihog. Okay, ang line equals ang line nga y equals x is makita nato nga mo traverse siya from third quadrant to the first quadrant passing the origin. Okay? Muna ang y, ang line nga y equals x. Okay? From the third quadrant, going to the origin, and then to the first quadrant. And more likely, it will form a 45-degree nga angle. Okay? Kay ang y ang x equal man. So it will go with 0, 0, negative 1, negative 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. So kung imo na siyang i-draw nga line, mo na ang line nga y equals x. And then, aside na siguro ta kung asa ang reflection about the line y equals negative x. Correct? Balik na sa atong line nga y. Kaya, Glyza?
Tama, sir. Tama.
Ang atong reflection nga y equals x. So, ang take note na to ang original nga coordinates is magbaylo ra sila. Ang imong abscissa mahimong ordinate, ang imong ordinate mahimong abscissa. So, original, it would be xy. And when reflection happens and then it is about the line y equals x, then what will happen is that ang imong coordinate is magiging y and x. So it means to say, i-change ang value. Ibaylo ang value. Or nagbaylo ang value. So ba? Magbaylo lagi, magbaylo ang value. So magbaylo sila. Magbaylo dahi. Dili mag-ilis. Kumbaga mag-change na ang position. In other words, ang reflection nga y equals negative x, side na ta, it will traverse from positive, from the second quadrant to the fourth quadrant. Correct? And then, diyan nyo makita na kung negative 1 ang imong x, positive 1 imong y. Okay? There is a picas is negative 1 ang imong y, positive 1 imong x. Okay, so traverse na second quadrant, pareha rin gapon sa pag-traverse sa imong y equals x. Ang although lang is ang slope is negative or going downwards. Reflection about the origin. So what will happen is that it will always be the same lang position sa imong and then it will only change from negative to from positive to negative. Okay, questions?
None so far, sir.
Okay na, nasabdan ra?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next is dilation. A dilation is a transformation that produces an image that has the same shape, same orientation, but the same different size. And in our is, we'll just simply try to consider the center of our dilation and the scale factor. A dilation used to create an image larger than the original is called enlargement. Motong ganina. And then a dilation that is used to create an image is smaller than the original is called reduction. Enlargement, kung padako, gikan sa gamay ni dako, o gikan sa dako ni gamay, reduction. Okay? So dilation always always involves a change in size. Take note of that one. So, mo nang different size na sila. So, para sa ani karon, ang original na to nga triangle is triangle ABC, and then the image after dilation is triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. Ni dako ni gamay.
Ni dako, sir.
Ni dako. So, di tawag ani nga dilation.
Ni dako.
Enlargement.
Enlargement.
Enlargement, sir.
Enlargement. Ang scale factor niya is just simply be double. Okay? Kaya kung tanawin mo, Ang original nga location sa atong A is -2, -2. After sa enlargement, gimultiply na siyang 2, nahimo siya ang -4, -4. So in other words, ang size is na-double lang siya ang size. Nakuha?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So scale factor is 2. In other words, kung gusto ta mag-enlarge, i-multiply ra nato ang atong scale factor sa given nga mga coordinates. Given an enlargement with scale factor S, the center of relation at the origin, then we simply have to multiply each of the coordinates by our scale factor nga S. Okay? So, halimbawa, itong scale factor is 2. Then, we have the coordinate xy, so it becomes 2 times x and 2 times y. Or in other words, kung scale factor na to 2, nga natay coordinate nga 3, 4, so we simply multiply 3 and 4 by 2. So it becomes now 2 times 3, 2 times 4. So it becomes now 6, 8. So ang new location ni mo karon, therefore, na nasa 6 and 8. So kaya scale factor man niya is 2 greater than 1, therefore, enlargement siya. Nakuha? So kanus aman siya reduction. Kanus ata makadawat nga reduction by determining only or using only our scale factor. So kanus ata makaingon nga reduction by only looking at our scale factor. Kanus aman reduction. Kung scale factor nato pilay value.
Negative 2, sir.
Kung negative, sir.
Kung mag-negative 2, it means to say, mag-enlarge lang yapon siya, pero ang iyalang direction is mautro. Or ang iyang orientation, kumbaga, mag-rotate po siya at the same time. Ano sa dapat reduction?
0, sir.
0? So what I multiply, so it becomes to say, nawala ang imong figure. It does not exist anymore. Kaya may mag 0, 0 tanan. So nibalik siya dito sa ato ang sentro, sa atong origin. Kano sa man ang usa ka butang nga mugamay kung i-multiply nato og
1.
Ha?
1.
Uy, the same ra.
Factors, sir. Multiplied by factors. Factor.
What factor gali? Unsa nga factor? What should be the
1/2.
value? The value should be
Point
1
5.
half or less than. Okay, dapat less than 1.
0.5.
Para reduction siya. Less than 1.
0.5.
The value should be greater than 0 but less than 1.
0.5, sir. Pwede.
0.5, sir.
0.5, oh.
Less than
Pwede,
1
sir, no?
So, reduction
Reduction.
na siya. Basta less than 1. Kung ang scale factor na to, less than 1, reduction ang tawag. Okay? Ayan. So, ang atuwa lang po is napod na dilation ng may tabo is only a streets. Okay? Streets. Nga naman, kay kung atong may tabo, ang atong streets, may tabo lang siya kung ang atong coordinates is i-multiply, one of the coordinates is only multiplied by the scale factor. Okay? Mas streets siya. So kung imong i-multiply is only, halimbawa scale factor of 2, pero ang imong i-multiply is only,
X
pero dilation niya po siya. Dilatation na yun. Dilatation. Okay? So ang tawag ana kung usara ka coordinate ang atong i-multiply Sa atong skill factor, ang tawag na stretch. Okay? Kunya, kung ang isa ra pod ka kung usara pod ka coordinate, usara pod sa coordinate nato ang imong i-multiply sa skill factor nato nga gamay, ang tawag na compressed. Okay? So halimbawa, di-compress nato ang ato ang by 4. So it means to say, divide na nato siya. So halimbawa 5 og 8, may mo siyang 5 2. So makita na nimo karon nga ato ang ayan, gikan sa street, gikan sa nag-stretch one side. Okay na?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does the picture show a translation, notation, dilation, or reflection?
Rotation.
Rotation, sir.
Reflection, sir. Abe?
Rotation lagi, sir.
Rotation, sir.
Maybe rotation
Okay.
din.
So, rotation dyan. Rotation. Okay, you're correct. Rotation. Rotation, correct?
Translation ata.
Rotation
lagi
naman,
answer,
sir.
na. Answer.
Ano answer?
Rotation. Answer sa boss, rotation. Kanina, wala na. Wala answer, rotation. Next.
Dilation.
Dilatation.
Dilation.
Dilatation.
Dilation.
Dilatation.
Oh, you're correct. Dilation or dilatation. Sunod.
Reflection, sir.
Reflect.
Sigurado, reflection na. Okay, reflection.
Yes, sir.
Next. Which of the following lettered figures are translation of the shape of the purple arrow? Kanya? Name that all apply. Translation. Ang saman daw ang mga figure nga A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Translation datong purple arrow kaning naguna. What figures? G, correct? Translation ng G. The last figure. Oy, translation. Nasa ang mga translation ng A. A.
C.
Sunod. C. Sunod.
E.
Sir,
E.
G.
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 E and G.
Translation.
Ay, E.
A,
sir.
A, C, and G.
A.
sir.
A's, in other words. Okay, you are correct with that one. Ayan. A, the answer will be letters A, C, and E. Translation of the purple arrow. Questions?
None so far, sir.
None, sir.
So far,
None.
so that would be all for the day. Thank you for attending the class.
Sir, pwede mangayo og anong PPT, sir.
Copy. Katong duha, sir.
Sige
Katong
ba,
topic,
okay,
sir.
padala.
Sige, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Salamat.
Sige, ang attendance muna.
Sir, charot.
Kisa to si kalimot mo kus guwapa oy.
Si Anilit.
Mayola.
Nilit.
Uyab ni Apollo, sir.
Daniel, you are raising
Hoy.
your hand again.
Sir?
Daniel, what's the question, Daniel?
Sir, wala naman, sir.
Wala na.
O, wala. Wala mo ko nag-raise, sir.
Nag-raise imo nang gilower.
Nag-raise ka, Daniel.
Sorry, sir. Natoplock na, sir.
Anilit, is absent.
Sir? Ang absent, sir, kay si Mahusay, si Bale, og si Koan.
Okay, padala lang sa GC ha. Mahusay, Bali, o si...
Dila Cruz.
Ha? Si De La Cruz?
Dila Cruz nga Angel.
Angel, sir.
Duha din na sila.
Yes, sir. De La Cruz nga Angel o si De La Cruz nga Mary Ann ba to?
Unsa man, magsuon na sila duha?
Dili, sir.
Sir,
Pag sure ba?
Pilido.
Dili. Same na pwede, sir.
Ah, sige.
Oo. Tulo ka absent, sir, for today.
Tulo, upat. Dapat eh.
Tulo man, sir.
Wala mang
Upat eh.
sila
Tulo.
isinalap ito, sir.
45. O, lagi mo gali. Upat. Upat lagi, okay. 45 ba naman mo?
47 man ni ganina, sir. Nakaabot man ng uban.
47, kay duha man ko.
Oo.
Ako nga nag-present pa sa ako ang account. Kaya ang presentation isa ang niya ako ang account. So karon na 46 na lang na ako. Kaya off naman ako ang sharing. So upat dapat ang absent.
Basin si Kuan, sir.
Basin si
Tulo ray absent, sir, kay 49 naman mi kabuo.
Ako, hindi ko naman kwenta.
Ay, okay din, sir.
Apil gali ko, ika-46 ko.
Sorry, sir.
45 gabuok, ramo. So, dapat upat ang absent.
Upat ka buok.
Tulo na na lista, sir.
Tagda lang ko niya kung isa wala. Si Iba Marie na, Iba Marie.
Sir.
Wala oy. Wala mo tingog. Iba Marie. Iba Marie. Iba Marie, Miss Entrada. Wala.
Si Mahusay ang wala. Mahusay ma.
Ganong di man madunggan mo ang tingog, Iba Marie. Wala na po yung signal? Or si Imayka? Nasa Imayka? 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 Si Mahusay daw wala. Mao ko gingon niya ganina, Mahusay tatulo. So si Imayka ang ikaupat. Anilit.
Imay ka, sir. Prob na sa diri
Naalagi siya.
Si Rapal.
Si Rapal, sir.
Wala man. Huwag kayo mo tingog.
Present yung
Wala
kuan,
lagi.
pero wala. Hindi.
Naka-join siya. Dapat nga nawala ting.
Stable pa siguro ang signal.
Kajuwi na. O, ni 46 na. Ni 46 na. Sige, mo to tulo na kay isa may bago ni abot. Taas daw kamot ba, isa bago ni abot. Si Daniel, sige naman si Daniel. Ganun na makabago ba ni abot Daniel. Yun ang yung taas lagi sa mong kamot dan. Isa may mong
Tuplok, sir. Kay... May na lang siya, mapansin ko ni Crush. Charot.
Isa may mong class. Kaya atong tabang ng pansin.
Ako, sir. Si Chan Chan, sir.
Sir, si Kondo, sir, si Gimeno daw wala. Gimeno.
Sige na, palihog na lang kong padala sa group chat, Anilit ha. Anilit.
Sige, sir.
Sige, thank you. Bye-bye. Love you all. See you next
Bye-bye,
week.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sana all.
Bye, sir.
Sir, mangayo may pipiti, sir.
Magulat mo sa pipiti, sir.
Hi, sir. Thank you.
Bye,
sir.
Sir, advance happy.
Sige, sir. Salamat.